Hello and welcome back to the Avoid the Tyrewall podcast. Today we are joined by special guest Bryce Aron. Bryce, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, so at the minute I'm racing in GB3 in the UK with Carl Motorsports and looking to end on a high here at Donington Park.
Did you notice a big difference in motorsports coming from the US to the UK?
I'd say definitely in the US, at least in some of the junior formulas, it's definitely a bit more relaxed compared to the UK here, where the level's extremely aggressive but also very professional.
What's your workout program like?
Definitely a lot of cardio because we have to lose weight, especially for me because I'm a bit taller. So I have to lose weight, be able to make a weight limit in the car and do things like that just to stay in shape.
How did coronavirus affect this?
Definitely, it made it a bit harder to travel back and forth, but besides that, we managed.
How, in your opinion, can motorsports adapt to the future?
I'd say definitely for me, it's cool to see F1 trying to adapt and be more environmental, but I do like the idea of IndyCar, where it's definitely a bit more like a dinosaur and a lot more old school.
I've been watching Formula E and I just think it's well cool that they
It's cool, but it's a bit, in my opinion, Formula E, it's cool, there's awesome drivers in it, but I wish I kind of let it just be more racing, less of the kind of traveling around the outside and that stuff.
Are there any regulations for hip width? As Daniel Ricciardo mentioned that his hips were just on the limit for the F1 car.
They're not in the GB3 car, but there's a height limit.
What's your favourite racing car you've ever driven?
I'd say British Formula Ford so far. I mean, I'm curious to see what happens with this car next year. Hopefully I'm able to compete in that. But I'd say Formula Ford because it's just such a different animal.
It's getting a halo, isn't it, this car?
This car, yeah, halo, more horsepower, more aero. So it's going to be a bit quicker next year.
Do you listen to music before a race?
I tried to, but I honestly felt like if I was just more relaxed by just walking up and doing my own thing and almost being a bit lazy, I felt like that was a bit better than trying to listen to music, do a ton of warm-up. Just being a bit more relaxed, I felt like it worked better for me.
What's the best song or artist for getting in a racing vibe?
I don't know, maybe like Eminem. He's alright.
What's the most complex part of your car?
Well, that's a good question. I'd say probably something with the electronic system, kind of that wiring harness. But to be honest, these cars are quite basic in the way they're built, and they're really sturdy, and that's why we're able to see really good racing out of them.
Do you have telemetry? Do you have a specific telemetry kit for each circuit, or is it a standard one? So
we use it's not, I forget the actual name of the program, but we do use data analysis with our cars. It's it's the same system, and it's in each car. Yeah. There's a beacon on the start finish line so it's by GPS. Okay. So it gives us everything we need to know, like engine RPM, brake pressure, steering inputs, all that good stuff. But the actual system itself remains within the car throughout the whole season. It doesn't really change. Okay.
Do you find it more difficult to drive in really hot or really cold conditions?
That's a good question. I'd say probably really cold conditions because it's really hard to get tire temps, especially in these cars where it's so sensitive to tire temperature. So it makes it really, first lap of a race or something, like even today, it was a bit cooler, not super cold, but it made, the first lap a bit tough with locking up and making mistakes.
What's a stereotype of racing drivers that you dislike or wouldn't want to live up to?
I mean, there's definitely a few. I feel like, maybe like bad boy type deal. But for me, for what I do is I try to, come to the track, do my job, work really hard with engineers and a lot of people behind the scenes to make the job happen. So almost, putting in the hard work, and I feel like that's something that's sometimes overlooked, when you talk about racing drivers.
Do you do a lot of sim work?
Lots of it, lots and lots of sim work between the Carlin factory and using other programs like iRacing.
Do you find that it helps you?
Definitely, I'd say the track models have come a long way. If they're maybe for Donington it was a bit out of date, but still it's very helpful when you're doing race runs and stuff. Everything's basically, even on the track, small bumps and stuff with iRacing, everything's just laser scanned. So it's definitely a lot like the real thing even.
What track do you drive or perform best on, do you think?
Sorry?
Which track do you think you perform or drive best on?
I'd say probably Brands Hatch because I did a lot around there in a Formula Ford. So I'd say definitely Brands GP at the start of the year was really good, and I'd say probably in the future if I'm racing at Brands I'd hope to do well.
Which circuit do you think is the worst that you've driven at? Like
Snetterton. I don't like Snetterton. It's just not my place. I haven't had ever good results there, and I haven't. Every time I've been there, it's been very cold and very wet, and just the cafe there isn't great. So it's the area is all right, but definitely not my favorite place to race.
Does it feel different, like from a driver's perspective, in a Formula Ford car and a GB3 car?
Much different, 100%. These cars are around 20 seconds a lap quicker around a place like this than a Formula Ford. Even more in the wet, because we have a dedicated wet tire in this, whereas Formula Ford is just a road tire. So it's definitely a lot different. You have so much more grip. The car, it's less forgiving because of all the aerodynamic stuff going on with it. So you can't pitch the car around. It's about being smooth and carrying a lot of minimum speed.
What's the best thing about racing?
Competition. I love absolutely the competition behind motorsport and trying just to beat another person. I really love that aspect, and also trying to be in part with a machine and working together not only with a team but trying to become almost, as cliche as it sounds, one with a car.
What's your dream road car?
Dream road car. It's a Ferrari F40, and there's one here too, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's really cool.
What's a question you get tired of being asked?
To be honest, it's definitely from Americans, especially people that don't understand racing. They ask, I'm racing in GB3, and I get a lot of Americans or friends back home asking, oh, do you have to drive on the wrong side of the road? And I'm like, well, there's no wrong side of the road to a racetrack, is there? So that's one that gets a bit old sometimes.
That's the most creative one I think we've had.
Americans are creative.
How different is the setup from wet to dry?
Much different. So obviously you have the rain tires themselves, but I'd say we don't change a lot. Maybe we add a bit more aero to the car, but what we do with the mechanical side of it's completely different. At the end of the day, you can't change too much on these cars, but you would never run anything close to a wet setup in the dry. So you do definitely disconnect a lot of stuff. Tire pressures are a lot different because you're trying to cut through water on the surface of the pavement. Definitely, a bit different.
So this is the general knowledge round. Which is the longest British circuit?
Longest British circuit, I'd say, oh god, that's a tough one. Silverstone.
Correct.
Yes, that's 1 out of 10.
At the 2008 Turkish Grand Prix, which record did Rubens Barrichello break, which has since been broken by Kimi Räikkönen?
Oh, most Grand Prix starts.
Correct. Who's the oldest driver to finish a Formula race?
Fangio.
Louis Chiron, aged 55.
Okay, I'm not going to get that one.
How many titles did Fangio win?
5.
And how much? Can you name the years?
50, 51.
You got 51 correct.
58, 56.
56, yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
51, 54, 55, 56 and 57. Which 3 races make up the Triple Crown of Motorsport?
Oh, Le Mans, Monaco and Indy 500.
Oh, nearly flashed the answers then, whoops. Yes, and who is the only, who's the only
Jim
driver?
Clark. Wait, no, not Phil Hill.
It's a Hill.
Damon. No, not Damon, no, that's dumb. Graham
Evan.
Hill. Graham Hill, yeah. Dang, no, something in the wind gave me that answer. Graham Hill.
Yeah.
I thought it was Jim Clark. All right.
How many father-son duos have won an F1 title?
So that'd be Damon Hill, and God, that'd be 2.
Yes.
Villeneuve. Yeah.
Can you not the Villeneuves?
Yeah. Oh. no. Okay. Well, 2.
Well, can you name the duos?
Well, Damon and who is the other one? I don't know.
KK and Nico Rosberg.
Oh God, yeah. I deserve a half point for that.
Yeah, you're getting a half point.
Okay.
Which team did Nino Farina win the 1950 title with?
Alfa Romeo.
Yes.
Yes.
You didn't say the one everybody says. They always say Ferrari. Can you name this track?
Oh. Where's the? Oh, Baku.
Yeah.
All right. Yes.
Correct. So what was grand total?
8.5.
Whoa, you just put you in second.
All right, sweet. I'll take that.
Do you have any questions you want to ask? Wait.
What age did you get into racing?
So I got into motorsport. So I had to beg my parents to do it. I wanted to do it when I was like 3 or 4. Apparently, my first, as cheesy as it sounds, first words were "I see car."
Oh, right, okay.
But you know, it was tough for my family to go racing, and my dad knew what he was going to get into because he's in the automotive industry.
Yeah.
So we, you know, after lots of years of begging, I started like when I was 11 in karting, and then when I started in open wheel when I was 15 in Formula Fords, and then this is my first year in British F3. So I just turned 18 in September.
Do you have a specific goal in your racing career?
I'd say definitely. You know, everybody, you know, dreams of Formula One, and who wouldn't? But for me, to be a professional racing driver at the end of the day, you know, is the dream. It's really tough from the financial side of this, and you know, there's only so many that make it. But I'd say, you know, definitely something like an Indy car would be the dream.
Yeah. Is Karl in the team to stay with, or?
I mean, Carlin, no, they're extremely good. Obviously, they just won the championship today.
Oh, yeah.
Well, technically, they won it at Oldton, but serious. Anyways, yeah, so they won it. You know, they obviously have all the expertise and everything. So yeah, they're an awesome team. It's been awesome to work with them.
Okay.
Have they got good facilities?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the shop and everything's amazing. You know, it's really cool walking around. A few times I've gotten back from test days at night, you know, and all the lights are off, and you know, all the mechanics and us, you know, we sometimes we leave stuff before we go to do a test day somewhere. And yeah, you know, walking in at night, seeing, you know, all the cars laid out, you know, FIA cars, F2, F3, you know, the GB3, F4, Euro Formulas, you know, some older stuff they have in there too. You know, it's really cool.
Where's the factory based?
So it's in Farnham, England.
Oh, right,
yeah, I think that's about 2.5. Yeah, sorry, so about 2.5 hours away from here.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of the Avoid the Tyrewall podcast. We hope you enjoyed it, and thank you to Bryce for agreeing to this interview. See you next week. Whoa, that's well cool. Yo, that is ace.
We have everything going on here at Donington Park.
This is the first time we've been in 9 years, so.
Wow.